Did you know that your brain speaks a different language? Now, I bring this out because a lot of people are getting frustrated with their own selves because they're not accomplishing what they want. They keep having emotional issues that they're trying to work on, and it just doesn't seem to be going in their direction. It's because the brain has a different language. So what you're probably doing is that you are dealing with an emotional issue, and you're talking about how you wanted to change, and your self-talk about yourself maybe not be that great, or your talk about another person may not be that great. Okay, the brain understands intense emotions attached to situations. The brain is speaking a behavioral language. And then that's what it knows what to produce for you. So when you're dealing with issues, how you are viewing them, talking about them, discussing them, the intense vibe that you have on them, if they are not of a high vibe nature and they are of a lower vibe nature, the brain does not understand that there is a problem that needs to be changed. You're saying it's a problem, but it's not. It's just seeing it as the same reaction that you had when it was occurring to you. And now that you're talking about it or dealing with it, it's the same. It doesn't see it as it's supposed to provide a different vibe for you and a different emotion. So it's going to keep providing you with the feeling of the frustration or the anxiety or the sadness. So if you wanted to change that, then you need to talk to it in the language it understands, which is behavioral. Okay, so that basically means is when a low vibe situation is happening to you and you feel it, that's why you need the low vibes. They let you know there's something going on. You need to pause, pay attention, and take action. Okay, that action is helping the brain to make peace with what is going on. Now, many speak of this, but yet they don't clarify exactly how it is that you help your brain to make peace with it. Okay, and one of the best ways and easiest way to do it is neuroplasticity, or helping your brain to rewire subconscious programming. Now, I use a 3-step thought process that I share with individuals because it's simple. Now, why do you want to do subconscious programming? Because it's the fastest way to get to talking to your brain so that it will start firing different neuron paths in order to create different reactions to things. So instead of having the same anxiety over the same situation, what you're going to do is you're going to address the issue. Now, you can do it during, you could do it after, or you could do it before. It doesn't really make a difference, but you do the 3 steps. And what that does is it gets those neuron paths to do a different route. And so then the intensity of the lower vibe that you may have attached to it, it starts to drop. So then the brain knows, oh, we don't have this particular high intense, low vibe reaction to this. We drop it down. And then when you actually go in and assign a different high vibe to it, one of courage, acceptance, peace, okay, then the brain says, oh, that's what we do when this situation comes up. Ah, got it? But you have to guide and aid your brain to do this. Now, many have been taught that when you have a low vibe situation going on in your life, you attach a low vibe emotion to it. So someone broke up with you, and so then you attach a low vibe emotion of sadness, unworthiness, unlovable, and it could last for a long time. Now, a lot of people, when I speak with them about this, they're like, well, I'm not a robot. They feel that addressing their emotions is a way of preventing it, but it's not. Think of it like this. Let's say you are walking down the street, going across the street, and you stumble and you fall down. Okay, you recognize that you fall down. You might even check to make sure everything is okay. But then do you stay there laying in the road because you fell? This is where you're at, and then you don't keep going forward. Or do you actually get up And you might even look to see, what did I fall on? How could I prevent that happening again? And then go to a safe place to continue on. So when we have a low vibe emotion, it is telling us to pause, pay attention, and then take action. But what happens a lot of times is we take on the identity of that broken heart. That means someone doesn't love me. I'm not lovable. And we take that identity on, and it can last for days, weeks, and months. That would be like laying in the street for days, weeks, and months. It's not productive for you. It's not useful for you. But it's a pattern that can become accustomed to. And so we think and feel that it is normal. But is it really the normal that you want? I love to help people to see that there's a different normal that they can have. You can deal with lower vibe circumstances in life. Learn to assign them a higher vibe so your brain will release it and then continue when that situation comes up again. It knows how to handle it and it assigns it the high vibe, or it will know how to do it differently. But most of the time when you're doing the lower vibe, you just keep repeating the same mistakes, the same pattern, keep ending up with the same guy, you keep being broke, you keep having bankruptcy. And that's because a lower vibe is still being assigned to those situations. So when you learn to do subconscious program, that's what it does for you. It helps you to start to release that low vibe that should be released in order for you to move forward. In order to stay productive. So that's why it's really important to date your brain and know how your brain is functioning. So then you know what you need to do in order to help it. Now, this technique can be used in many situations, actually pretty much any area of life. But it can be very hard for you to see it now because you already have a pattern in you that is showing you how to do things. And so when you're listening to some of the things I'm saying, it's going to be like aha moments and opening up things. Now, you don't have to take everything that I say and say, oh, I have to do that. You want to take the things that is making your eyes open and things that your brain is embracing and saying, hey, yeah, let's go with that. Because there might be some things that I say that you're like, I'm not quite showing that. That's fine. Because that actually is really good because it helps you to show you that you're really sticking to what it is that you want to do. And today we live in a world where we're constantly allowing circumstances to manipulate our moods and what we're doing. We'll stay in a job that we hate because we're afraid of our boss, or we're afraid that we won't be able to pay the rent. Okay, we'll stay in a relationship that is not beneficial to us, and we'll stay there because we're afraid that there's going to be worse results. Okay, so when you actually see something, you want to embrace it and see how it benefits you. And if it's not benefits you, then you want to be able to go ahead and know how to easily change that. That's why people have an issue when it comes to dealing with emotions and dealing with feelings and change and new things, because the pattern has already been set up that it's difficult and it's hard. So of course, who wants to go on a 12-year journey to recover from something that happened to them when they were 12 or 5 or 4? Okay, that seems too much. So the brain's like, but yet it doesn't like the anxiety. It doesn't like the way it's feeling. It doesn't like the illnesses that are being manifested in the body because of not dealing with emotional things. Okay, so it's in a catch-22. So then it gets frustrated. Then it starts creating more symptoms and more emotional issues and more things that trigger. So it's caught in a cycle 22 loop. So what you can do is you can break that loop, you can break that cycle by dating your brain and starting to know how it is that it creates your emotions and the things that you're doing that are either helping it to stay in the place that you don't want it to be, or the things that you're doing that actually are helping it, but you're not sticking to them. You're going back and forth between the good and the bad. This is Renee Thomas with DIY Mental Boost, and I am all about the brain and showing how amazing you already are. When you're working on yourself, you're not going to look at yourself as a person that doesn't have it together or that has issues or there's something wrong with them. No, there's nothing wrong with you. Your brain is functioning exactly the way it should be. The only thing is that you weren't aware that you had more power in guiding it. And you're going to learn that power, and it's going to empower you. And you're going to recognize how amazing you are. And you don't have to worry about the fact that there's things that you can enhance without making you feel like there's something wrong with you. Okay? In every area of life, everyone has things that they effortlessly do. And this is what it's going to be like a hobby that you do that you effortlessly do. You don't even have to think about it, and you're able to get it accomplished, right? That's because you have told your brain you're good at it. You know how to do it. You know what to expect. You got it. Well, we get a little bit not saying that sometimes when we're dealing with our work, when we're dealing with our relationships, when we're dealing with our children. We start to change the language and tell ourselves that we don't really got it because of never really being guided in how to make sure that when things, a lower vibe come up, that we don't pause, pay attention, and know how to handle it. So I'm glad you're here. This is all do it yourself. You don't need to make an appointment. You don't need a masterclass, and there is no cost. If there's something that is interesting in you, you get started at your convenience. All you got to do is click the link for going to get started. And basically,